Hey guys, Chris here with theGoodOldGamer. So looks like AMD agrees the price for their new Navi GPUs is a little bit too high. So we've got some information that AMD may be reconsidering their prices for their new Navi cards. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. Okay, so over here on videocards.com, looks like they just received word from two sources that AMD will lower prices of the RX 5700 series ahead of launch. So looks like this is going to be their response to Nvidia coming out with Super. Okay, so for the record, we still don't know the exact pricing for the RX 5700 series. So apparently pricing is still in flux, but the pricing that they got from two confirmations looks like we're going to be getting the 5700 at $349, the 5700 XT at $399, and then the anniversary edition at $449. Now, it's good to see that AMD is actually paying attention to what's going on out there, and then the feedback from users like us and everybody else out there that's not really happy with the current scheme of things. So it looks like they're taking that into account, as well as the new Nvidia Super Cards. You know, they want to seem far more competitive compared to Nvidia, because that's the only way that AMD is really going to be able to drive sales. As far as features go, Nvidia does still have RTX. As worthless as that feature really is right now, and on these GPUs, it's still a feature that AMD doesn't have. And then the features that AMD do have, they don't sell. I'm just gonna be frank with you. The reduced input lag thing, A, it doesn't have a cool, catchy name, and B, it's not gonna matter. It's not being promoted. You don't have Digital Foundry doing all kinds of videos on it. Not yet anyway. But since RTX and ray tracing has been the word of mouth for a long time, it's just much stronger than any of AMD's features. Let's be real about that. So going head to head with basically seemingly worse features, AMD would not be very strong. So these price drops, I think that that's probably the bare minimum that they should be doing. Me personally, to really maximize this, it would make sense to put the 5700 at $299, the XT at $349, and then the anniversary edition at $399. Keep the entire stack under $400, and also breach into the sub $300 price bracket. That's somewhere where Nvidia is nowhere. The 1660 Ti is a joke, doesn't have ray tracing, so you can't even use that. And it's basically just a 1050 Ti replacement that they're selling for nearly $300. Bringing down the 5700 to $299 would be the smartest move for AMD. It makes the 2060 look stupid because it's going to be faster than that and have more VRAM, and it's going to just obliterate everything in between the $200 and $300 price point. If that's where you typically buy the 5700 XT or the 5700 regular at $299, pretty much would be the card to buy sub $300. Even though it's just barely under, that $1 extra does make a lot of people look at it a lot harder, because it does fall within that category. I mean, that's marketing 101. There's a big difference between $299 and $301. It's only $2, but one's going to sell a lot better than the other one. And then putting the 5700 XT at $349 would be pretty much perfect, because it's going to compete very, very well with the new 2070 Super. It'll be a little bit slower, but at $150 less, it's just going to make it look stupid. It will make the 2070 Super look really stupid, and then Nvidia would have to lower prices again. Plus, you would also be giving people a 70 series card at 70 series prices. That's what I think a lot of people would really, really appreciate. The 2070 Super, a lot of people feel, is what the 2070 should have always been, because it feels like a 70 card. It's almost as fast as the 1080 Ti. And the 5700 XT should come in within a little bit of the Radeon 7, which is right around the same performance of the 1080 Ti. And then at $349, that's typical 70 series pricing with typical 70 series performance. So I think that would do really well. And then with the anniversary edition being as fast, if not faster than a 1080 Ti, kind of on that same level with those, and probably being a little bit faster than the Super Card at $100 less, would make that extremely attractive as well. So the prices that they have here are better, but I don't think it's enough. I don't think it really changes the game. With the pricing that they have, you have the 5700 competing against the 2060. Now, granted, it has 2 gigabytes more VRAM and should be about 10% faster. And so basically it's a 2060 Super at 2060 prices, but it doesn't have ray tracing, and that's still going to keep a lot of people buying Nvidia's cards. The 5700 XT at $399, I think that would still do all right, because it's going to compete well with the 2070 Super. It'll come out being probably a little bit slower, but not by a whole lot. And being $100 less, I still think that this would actually make more sense for the vast majority of people. However, this card does not really make sense at the $449 mark, because it'll be a little bit faster than Super while only being a little bit cheaper, assuming that it does what we think it'll do. Now, granted, this is all based off of AMD's own numbers and just kind of figuring out performance levels appropriately according to that. So we'll know more once the reviews come out exactly where all these land. But these prices right here, while good, I just don't think that they're good enough. And that's the reason why I'm doing this video here. It seems these prices aren't set in stone yet. AMD is still playing with things, so I want to put my opinion out there. AMD, if you want to move units, get the 5700 under $300. You need it at that price point. You could probably even leave the XT at $399 if you wanted to, because it'll still look pretty good. But if you want to move units, ultimately this is what it comes down to. If you want to move units, $299, $349, $399. Those are your three price points. You will move a crap ton more units if you do that. Now, if you want to keep the prices kind of where they're suggesting here on video cards, you'll move more units than you would at your original announced price, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I still think that Nvidia is going to have too much wind in their sails. Too many reviewers out there feel these super cards are good. Meanwhile, the 2060 gives you nothing. You actually get worse price to performance than its previous version. And then the 2070 is actually pretty good. Now, if you have a 2070 competitor, 2070 Super competitor with the anniversary edition at $100 less, you're going to have everybody saying, don't even bother with Super. RTX and ray tracing isn't worth it this generation. Save your money. Buy the AMD card. You get similar performance for much cheaper. And that's really the only way that you can win this generation, without having some sort of killer feature with a really cool name that's promoted by everybody. So that's another thing that you need to work on, is come up with your own stuff and get it marketed properly. But until you do, you have to sell for less, because you seem like you're offering less. Even if you are offering more, it seems like you're offering less. So you have to go ahead and price accordingly. So it just comes down to what you want. And I think most of you guys out there would agree with me that the price scheme that I think that they should be doing would probably be optimal. And honestly, I think most people would recommend them. I would recommend the Navi cards at that price point. At the proposed price point that we're seeing here on video cards, I mean, you're still going to recommend these over the Nvidia cards because they're much better value. But at the same time, I'm still probably going to recommend used cards. But at $299, something like the 5700, which is basically going to be a Vega 64, is $200 less than Vega 64. That's enough of a price decrease from last generation that it makes sense there. And Vega 64s aren't selling for much less than $300 anyway. So you might as well get the newer technology, get the better power draw, and go that route. And the same thing with all the other cards. So I think at $349, it's just priced a little bit too high for a cut down card. These are the cheapest cards for AMD to make, is the 5700. So even if they keep the XT at $399, you got to get the 5700 under $300. That one is the cheapest one to produce. You can sell defective dies. So I would definitely get that under $300, and you'll sell a ton of them. That will be the card that everybody will recommend. 1660 Ti is stupid at that point. Both 2060s are stupid at that point. And considering it actually competes with the 2070, more than likely the regular 2070, it's going to look like a great value. And you can say that this is kind of like a 60 Ti class GPU. The RX 5700 would be considered something like a 60 Ti class. And at $299, it's priced like a 60 Ti card. And I think a lot of people would get behind that. So those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I think it's good that AMD is at least entertaining the idea that they have to cut prices before these launch. So hopefully we'll find out in the next couple of days, but voice your opinion. They're out there. They're looking at all this stuff. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I want these cards for $200. That's not going to happen. Best case scenario is going to be the $299. So I would push for that because I think that they can make that work. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with friends. That really does help me out. That's all I have for today. I will catch you guys in the next video.